In a stunning expose, the United States has been covertly cultivating a squadron of revolutionary aircraft, shrouded in secrecy and engineered to dominate the skies with unparalleled sophistication. But what's even more perplexing is that these razor-edge planes are supposedly designed to serve a singular purpose: to counterbalance China's military prowess. The question is, what secrets lie hidden in the design of these clandestine aircrafts? And what does their existence foretell for the future of global power dynamics? Join us as we fly into the details of the 5 aircrafts US secretly tests to wipe out China. Number 5. Mayhem. The United States Air Force is working on Project Mayhem to develop a hypersonic bomber that can carry and operate missiles at speeds over Mach 10. The project is primarily based on achieving exceptionally high speeds, beyond the reach of enemy aircraft, missiles, and attacks. With advanced surveillance and radar technologies in place, speed is considered an essential defense tool for the future. Let's explore some of Project Mayhem's intended features and technologies. In 2018, the Russian-made hypersonic missile system, the Kh-47M2 Kinzhal, was seen to have immense capabilities. These one-shot missiles can cost over $100 million apiece. Hypersonic aircraft, conversely, can have greater usability and are generally intended to fly more than Mach 5. Project Mayhem is reportedly being designed to travel Mach 10. Anything in that range becomes highly challenging for the airframe due to extreme friction and air-resistant stresses. Model-based engineering techniques are used to digitally construct all aircraft elements. In December 2022, the engineering company Leidos was awarded a $334 million contract by the Air Force Research Laboratory to develop an air-breathing hypersonic system. Over 51 months, the program will require initial systems requirements and conceptual design reviews, costing an initial $24 million. Draper has partnered with Leidos to begin work on digitally creating the secret hypersonic bomber for the Air Force. Conventional jet engines generate thrust by pressurizing air using centrifugal compression. Scramjets use an immense pressure of high-speed airflow into the engine. At lower speeds, the incoming air pressure is insufficient for scramjet performance. As such, scramjets are generally used at high speeds and only once. A combined cycle scramjet, incorporating a traditional jet engine within it, can achieve the best of both worlds. According to Chris Combs, who specializes in hypersonics and aerospace engineering at the University of Texas at San Antonio, this type of engine could revolutionize air travel and defense. A combined scramjet means the aircraft can take off and accelerate to Mach 3 speeds before transitioning to a scramjet to achieve speeds over Mach 5. In enemy airspace, the hypersonic Mayhem can deploy conventional missiles and bombs, or conduct reconnaissance operations. The combined scramjet design also means the aircraft can safely approach and land at most airports. Conventional bombs and missiles that are typically used in air-to-air and surface-to-air attacks are considered outdated technology. That is why hypersonic missiles, as revealed by Russia in 2018, are seen to be the way into the future. Rather than spending hundreds of millions of dollars on a single-use missile, Project Mayhem aims to bring the existing munitions to the hypersonic age. Conventional munitions could be transported at hypersonic speeds, and the existing combat technology could be revolutionized. The pilotless Mayhem aircraft can be flown into enemy airspace, perform the mission such as engaging a target or gathering intelligence, and return to safe territory without being caught. Moreover, the unmanned nature of the aircraft will allow it to take greater risks in the combat zone. Getting in the Mach 10 range, things get heated quickly. The airframe must withstand extreme temperatures resulting from friction and air resistance. The technology required to build such aircraft is still evolving. For example, the capability of digital transformation was unavailable a few years ago. Jack O'Banion, the Vice President of Strategy and Customer Requirements for Advanced Development Programs, stated that producing the engine would have been impossible 5 years ago, as it would have melted down into slag. However, with current technology, the engine can be digitally printed with a sophisticated cooling system integrated into its material, allowing it to survive multiple firings for routine operation. Bringing the aircraft to a stop after reaching hypersonic speeds is a challenge in and of itself. The engines must be designed to cater to all speeds, including takeoff from a runway, cruise, and safe landing. After the success of Operation Desert Storm's air campaign, the United States Air Force continued to modernize its air superiority forces by developing the fifth-generation F-22 air dominance fighter along with new air-to-air weapons. What are your thoughts on the United States Air Force's secret Project Mayhem? Number 4. Collaborative Combat Aircraft. Collaborative Combat Aircraft is a United States program for unmanned combat air vehicles that is considered broadly equivalent to a loyal wingman. CCAs are intended to operate in collaborative teams with the next generation of manned combat aircraft, including sixth-generation fighters and bombers, such as the Northrop Grumman B21 Raider. Unlike the conventional UCAVs, the CCA incorporates artificial intelligence, denoted an autonomy package, increasing its survivability on the battlefield. It is still expected to cost much less than a manned aircraft with similar capabilities. Advances in autonomy and uncrewed systems technologies offer a once-in-a-generation opportunity to combine the lethality of fifth-generation fighters with collaborative combat aircraft designed to disrupt and defeat China's counter-air operations. And, unlike many advanced systems now in development, the Air Force could begin to acquire CCA at scale this decade, instead of in a distant future that would be dangerously late, considering China's rapid defense buildup. The Mitchell Institute conducted a wargame and associated studies to assess how a family of uncrewed collaborative combat aircraft could increase the lethality, survivability, and capacity of the Air Force's air superiority forces for operations in highly contested environments. Projecting decisive military power to distant theaters has long relied on the Air Force's ability to achieve air superiority by conducting offensive and defensive counter-air missions to defeat an adversary's fighters, surface-to-air missiles, battle managers, and other air defense threats. Establishing effective air superiority is an essential baseline requirement for any country's air force that wants to stay ahead of others. The United States Air Force defines this mission as achieving that degree of dominance in the air battle by one force that permits the conduct of its operations at a given time and place, without prohibitive interference from air and missile threats. The United States Air Force's Collaborative Combat Aircraft program emerged at the Air and Space Forces Association's recent annual Warfare Symposium. This includes a clearer picture of the effort's autonomy goals, aggressive production plans, and future operational impacts. Though questions remain about the capabilities and costs of these future uncrewed aircraft, the CCA program looks set to have a number of disruptive impacts that could fundamentally reshape the Air Force. As it stands now, the Air Force is planning to acquire at least 1,000 collaborative combat aircraft drones, and potentially more, as part of an initial tranche known currently as Increment 1. 5 companies: Boeing, General Atomics, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Anduril are currently working on Increment 1 air vehicle designs. Dozens of additional firms are supporting the program through the development of autonomous technologies, sensors and other mission systems, command and control capabilities, and more. A down select on the air vehicle side of the first increment, from the initial 5 contractors down to 2 or 3, is expected later this year. The goal is to have a CCA design actually in production by 2028. Increment 1. CCAs are expected, at least initially, to operate very closely with stealthy crewed combat jets, including a new 6th-generation design now under development as part of the Air Force's larger next-generation air dominance initiative, as well as certain F-35As. CCAs could be partnered with other crewed aircraft and operate more independently in the future. The Air Force also expects formal work on a second batch of CCA drones, known as Increment 2, to kick off in the 2025 fiscal year. This second phase of the program, the core requirements for which are still largely undefined, could include foreign participation. The Air Force is already collaborating actively with the United States Navy and Marine Corps on various aspects of the CCA program and relevant technologies, including the ability to exchange control of the drones seamlessly between services during future operations. The Air Force has so far provided limited details about the requirements and cost projections for the Increment 1 CCAs. From what has been disclosed to date, the service looks to be leaning toward picking a design that will feature less range and higher performance than had originally been expected, that will have a unit price at the top of earlier projected price ranges, as the war zone has previously explored in detail. In terms of cost, specifically, Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall has said that each of the initial batch of CCAs will cost between 1/4 and 1/3 of the unit price of an F-35 stealth fighter. This would be between around $20.5 million and $27.5 million, based on publicly available information. The Air Force has also put a heavy emphasis on open architectures and mission systems, which could lead to significant changes to the overall capabilities of the Increment 1 CCAs as time goes on. The service, in cooperation with industry, has already been making advancements in its ability to rapidly train and retrain autonomous algorithms in entirely digital environments to help speed up the development and implementation of new functionality. The Air Force's Collaborative Combat Aircraft program seeks to field unmanned systems to distribute air power and create dilemmas for adversaries. That will require developing platforms that reduce the human burden in the air and on the ground. The report concluded that they will help transfer risk from crewed to uncrewed aircraft operating in highly contested environments and impose costs on adversary forces. The report further said that the Air Force should field a mix of CCA and use them as asymmetric capabilities to disrupt and degrade China's air and missile defenses. New CCA combined with novel, innovative operating concepts for their use could deliver significantly more combat power than simply throwing more mass at the problem. This gets to the challenge: designing aircraft and operating concepts that provide affordable capabilities that augment manned aircraft without increasing the need for personnel to program, operate, launch, recover, and sustain them. Number 3. B21 Raider. The Northrop Grumman. B21 Raider is an American strategic bomber under development for the United States Air Force by Northrop Grumman. As part of the Long Range Strike Bomber program, it is to be a long-range, stealth intercontinental strategic bomber for the USAF, able to deliver conventional and thermonuclear weapons. The Air Force intends the B-21 to replace the Rockwell B-1 Lancer and Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit by 2040, and possibly the Boeing B-52 Stratofortress after that. Benefiting from more than 3 decades of strike and stealth technology innovation, the B-21 is the next evolution of the United States Air Force's strategic bomber fleet and the world's first 6th-generation aircraft to reach the skies. When it comes to delivering America's resolve, the Raider will provide the Air Force with long-range, high survivability, and mission payload flexibility. The B-21 will penetrate the toughest defenses for precision strikes anywhere in the world. The B-21 Raider is setting standards for 6th-generation technology. On the outside, next-gen stealth and advancements in low observable processes will make the aircraft easier and less costly to maintain than prior systems. Inside, the B-21's open architecture will enable rapid upgradability from inclusion of new weapons to software upgrades thanks to advanced networking capabilities and successful cloud environment migration. With these innovations, the aircraft is designed to meet evolving threats for decades to come. The B-21 Raiders program is reimagining traditional acquisition processes. Through active contract management, Northrop Grumman and the Air Force have worked in a partnership focused on shared success over the long term. The team's focus on transparency is evident in the industry-first data sharing agreement that provides the end user with access to valuable data, including the B-21 digital twin. The B-21 Raider forms the backbone of the future for the United States air power. The aircraft will deliver a new era of capability and flexibility through advanced integration of data, sensors, and weapons. Capable of delivering both conventional and nuclear payloads, the B-21 will be one of the most effective aircraft in the sky, with the ability to use a broad mix of standoff and direct attack munitions. A key strategy of the program was to build a production representative first test aircraft. Rather than a prototype, the B-21 test aircraft is equipped with mission systems and was built by the same manufacturing technicians using the same processes and tooling for production aircraft. The body of knowledge and experience gleaned in the development process supports a smooth transition into production on the path to delivering operational capability. Northrop Grumman uses agile software development and digital engineering tools to mitigate production risk and enable modern sustainment practices for the B-21 program. Ground testing demonstrated the efficacy of digital modeling with results that outperformed industry standards, paving the way for next-gen platforms and systems. by embracing the benefits of advanced manufacturing. Northrop Grumman invested in a digital ecosystem for the B-21 throughout the aircraft's lifecycle. From training and augmented reality tools allowing technicians to visualize tasks and solve problems before ever touching the plane, to easing integration of supplier parts on the aircraft, these advancements have reduced risk, supported efficiency, and cultivated expertise throughout the manufacturing workforce. Since contract award in 2015, Northrop Grumman has assembled a nationwide team to design, test, and build the world's most advanced strike aircraft. The B-21 team includes more than 8,000 personnel from Northrop Grumman, industry partners, and the Air Force, with more than 400 suppliers across 40 states. The partnership approach extends to the flight test campaign. Initially stood up in 2019, the B-21 Combined Test Force is composed of Northrop Grumman and Air Force personnel working together to conduct flight test operations prior to aircraft delivery. Sustainment was a program priority throughout the B-21 program's design phase. In addition to driving efficiency over the long term, this approach yields more near-term benefits and sets the B-21 further along on tech data, material readiness, and training, which will benefit the user community upon fielding. The B-21 Raider is pivotal to supporting the United States' strategic deterrence strategy. In addition to its advanced long-range precision strike capabilities that will afford combatant commanders the ability to hold any target, anywhere in the world at risk, it is designed as the lead component of a larger family of systems that will deliver intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, electronic attack, and multi-domain networking capabilities. In a dynamic global security environment, the B-21 will provide the flexibility and deterrence critical to the security of the United States and her allies. The B-21 Raider is named in honor of the Doolittle Raid of World War II, when 80 airmen, led by Lieutenant Colonel James "Jimmy" Doolittle, and 16 B-25 Mitchell medium bombers set off on a mission that changed the course of the war. The raid was a catalyst to a multitude of future progress in United States air superiority and serves as the inspiration behind the Raider name and the pioneering, innovative spirit instilled across the workforce, bringing the B-21 to life. Number 2. FA-XX. As the Boeing FA-18EF flying for the United States Navy begins to age, the time has come to start drafting their replacement prototype. The FA-XX program intends to bring sixth-generation fighter technology to the United States Navy. FA-XX is a development and acquisition program for a future sixth-generation air superiority fighter to replace the United States Navy's FA-18EF Super Hornet and complement the F-35C beginning in the 2030s. A requirement was first identified on June 2008. A sixth-generation fighter? Anybody who's been to an air show would believe the fifth-generation fighters F-22 and F-35 are very good, especially knowing they have agility, helmet-mounted sights, internal weapons carriage, sensor fusion, supercruise, stealth, and more. But this sixth-generation fighter jet will have to network with drones packing at least some artificial intelligence. Additionally, it has the capability to carry directed energy weapons like lasers. There may also be an unmanned version and an optionally manned version of the FA-XX. The FA-XX is going to have a long list of requirements as a Super Hornet replacement, well beyond just taking off and landing on carriers. According to the United States Naval Institute blog post, the FA-XX will have to be the quarterback for drones at significant range. Adding drones to the mix will increase survivability, especially considering the range and quantity of People's Republic of China missiles. With the PRC and other nations developing coastal defense missiles that outrange current United States Navy fighters, the fighters need not just to outrange or outstick those missiles, but also not be detected while on mission. Otherwise, even if surrounded by destroyers with over 100 missile magazines, the aircraft carrier could lose much of its value the way the battleship did after the aircraft carrier-based attacks of December 7, 1941, on Hawaii's Pearl Harbor. No longer can the Navy rely on the occasional aerial refueling by an unstealthy platform. The FA-XX is going to have to operate in contested airspace. This quest for range while having stealth will require new propulsion technology. To pull this off, it will require adaptive engines that are also known as variable cycle engines, that can do long-range, efficient cruise, and also bursts of speed. General Electric is working on the XA-100 adaptive engine, and as General Manager for Advanced Combat Engines at GE Edison Works, David Tweedy explained that the XA-100 is an engine that can adapt in flight to mimic a passenger jet engine or a fighter jet engine, all without the pilot pushing a button. Impressive, right? The adaptive action allows advanced aircraft like the F/A-XX to have the best of both worlds. While a fighter jet funnels air coming in through the engine core for maximum performance and noise. By the way, a modern turbofan engine for jetliners wants to push as much air as possible through the intake fan. An adaptive engine allows aircraft to benefit from both strategies, cruising long distances efficiently but being ready to issue a burst of speed when required. The F/A-XX will not be as angular or muscular as the F/A-18E and F/A-18F, which have starred in many United States and Australian air shows. But the F/A-XX's smooth lines and adaptive engines will represent a long-range multi-role weapons platform that can operate in contested airspace, supporting troops on the ground or stopping an enemy's ability to wage war. Before we continue, let's have today's subscribers pick. Behold the next-generation air dominance, a shimmering silver sword slicing through the skies, destined to supplant the legendary F-22 Raptor, the reigning king of the aerial realm. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, the NGAD bursts forth with cutting-edge technology, its sleek, aerodynamic design evoking the stealthy grace of a panther stalking its prey. As the sun dances across its radar-absorbing skin, the NGAD shimmers like a mirage, a ghostly apparition defying detection. Its advanced computer systems hum with the quiet intensity of a precision-crafted Swiss watch, waiting to unleash a maelstrom of firepower upon its foes. Can this aerial assassin dethrone the mighty F-22, the reigning champion of the skies, and claim the throne as the most feared and formidable fighter jet in the world? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Number 1. The next generation air dominance. The United States Air Force is about to drop some serious coin on the future of air power. The service will spend almost $20 billion over 5 years to develop next-generation air dominance, its secret new 6th-generation fighter jet and future replacement for the F-22 Raptor. NGAD will also be the first aircraft program conceived from the start as a combination of both manned and unmanned aircraft. In 2022, then Assistant Secretary of the Air Force Will Roper revealed the Air Service had designed and flown a prototype of the NGAD fighter in just 1 year, with the help of new digital engineering technologies. The aircraft design and other details were never revealed, nor was the identity of the defense contractor involved. Since then, the service has teased out a handful of other details. The name itself, Next Generation Air Dominance, makes it clear that the aircraft is not a 5th-generation jet like the F-22 Raptor or the F-35 Lightning II, but a generational leap ahead that will make it, unless another country beats America to it, the world's first 6th-generation fighter. NGAD's capabilities could define the new generation. These could include daytime or optical stealth, laser weapons, and the use of artificial intelligence to reduce pilot workload. The Air Force has also said there might be 2 versions of the manned fighter, one for the European theater, perhaps carrying a larger weapons payload, and one for the Pacific theater, with a longer range. Now, the Air and Space Forces reported that the service will spend $19.5 billion over 5 years on NGAD. The Air Force will pick 2 companies to develop their versions of the manned NGAD aircraft, with one ultimately picked to build the final design. Unlike previous fighters, the manned NGAD fighter will be complemented by unmanned aircraft known as collaborative combat aircraft. CCA will be a stealthy, high-performance autonomous aircraft with the ability to carry a variety of payloads, from sensors to jammers and weapons. Unmanned CCA planes will operate as extensions of the manned NGAD fighter, adding firepower and sensor reach. CCA planes will fly ahead of the manned NGAD plane, using their own sensors to sweep the skies and the ground below, allowing for early detection of threats. This delegating of sensor use could allow the manned plane to operate with its sensors off entirely, making it even harder to detect by enemy forces. In the air-to-air role, NGAD could direct its unmanned minions to ambush enemy aircraft at long ranges while remaining hidden, acting as flying magazines of missiles. In the air-to-ground role, CCA bots could fly ahead and jam enemy radar and communications, paralyzing the enemy's ability to mount an effective defense, then destroying surface-to-air missile threats. The intent is to allow the NGAD pilot to act as the puppet master, with the robotic aircraft taking all the risks. In contrast, China's rapid military modernization after Desert Storm created what is now the world's most sophisticated integrated air defense system. China tailored its warfighting strategy and its area access and area denial strategy to take advantage of United States forces' limitations by enabling its own forces to quickly achieve a dominant position in the battle space before United States and allied military reinforcements can deploy from their homelands and other locations to engage in combat. Inflict unacceptable loss rates on United States air forces in the air by using advanced forces such as long-range J-20 counter-air fighters carrying the world's most advanced air-to-air missiles, and on the ground by directly attacking United States theater air bases. The Chinese also plan to focus its attacks on the rarest, most valuable, and hardest to replace United States air assets. This can be seen in the PLA's investments in a variety of weapons designed to attack United States' aircraft carriers and airborne high-value airborne assets like AWACS. This strategy also includes degrading the United States airborne battle management and command and control networks and other means to gain information dominance, and also degrading United States sortie generation operations by striking their air bases and ground support capabilities. Another PLA airbase attack objective is to compel opposing air forces to reposition their high-value assets from the Pacific's first island chain to more distant bases, increasing the ranges they must fly to the battle space and reducing their sortie rates. Take full advantage of China's interior lines to ensure the PLA's own high-value assets become high-risk targets for United States forces. For example, the PLAAF's KJ-500 radar systems provide early threat warnings and target cues to long-range air defenses on the PLA Navy surface action groups. These surface action groups provide an outer layer of defenses for PLA forces in the Taiwan Strait, while remaining under the umbrella of a network of long-range fighter aircraft and coastal SAMs. The United States might have the force, and the Chinese might have the tactics. In this tightly fought battle for air supremacy, it's going to be fascinating to see who comes out on top. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.